B minor mass that shakes the room, and after about 30 seconds of this, you just say, enough already of what you really are for yourself, because you realize it will fulfill the request. It can lift a veil on vistas of reality that, like some hero in an H.P. Lovecraft tale, you will just be left gibbering for the rest of your life in a very small cell, because there are truths out there that the termite mind of man, I think, is not ready to handle. The reason this whole non-local thing works the way it does is because we resonate with what is familiar. In other words, the universe is full of things no human mind can cognize or apprehend. But because we cannot cognize or apprehend these things, we do not even notice them. They are, as it were, in the background. What's in the foreground is everything at least familiar enough that we can relate to it as strange. You know, the problem is not to encounter the alien, but to have enough sense to know when it's looking at you. Because it ain't going to be like you think it is. That's the one thing you can take to the bank. Yeah, back there. Mm-hmm. Do I consider psychedelics a door or a window? Interesting question. I think that until recently they were a window. I think they can become a door. Here's my wrap on this. This whole business about the alien, and I could have spent the whole hour on a different tack and gone at it, but the alien is real in some sense, but not real in any sense that I think would satisfy the marketplace here assembled. The alien is somehow non-local. That means that if we really want to contact the alien, we are going to have to understand that the alien is pure information. The alien is only made of information. Is that good news or bad news? It's good news. Here's why. It just so happens at this time in history we have produced a technology that can manipulate pure digital information. The alien needs to be downloaded into cyberspace. It's not for nothing that the net is called the net. It is a net for catching an alien. You know, in all the old B science fiction movies of the 50s, one of the tropes of the plot was always the landing zone. We must build a landing zone, go to the landing zone, locate the landing zone. The net is the landing zone. And where is the alien? The alien is trapped in the deeper interstices of the human soul, but can be downloaded onto the internet as a virtual reality of some sort. And this, you do it very slyly. You don't announce what I've just announced. You say, we're going to hold a contest, and we're going to have a prize for the best simulation of a psychedelic experience in VRML, in virtual space. And you hold this contest, and you hold it the next year and the next year, and people are inspired to download what they think of as their weirdest visions. But what they don't understand is their weirdest visions are the weird vision. In other words, the collective oversoul exists dispersed through all of us. And if we as a collective project seek to model it, to animate it, to produce a reasonable simulacrum of it in virtual reality, it will come to be. We will summon it out of ourselves. And I think at a certain point we will understand the nature of the enterprise. The alchemist dreamed of something like this. The summoning into existence of the cosmic anthropos, the mystic atom, the Sophic hydrolith, the philosopher's stone, the lapis philosophorum, the transcendental object at the end of time, once again, the living heart of the universal panacea. Now, I think, as we move into the empowering of the imagination, through cyberspace, we can actually do this. We can actually bring these archetypes, if you will, into existence in ways that will give them a terrifying immediacy. I mean, I have visited virtual realities of low definition slapped together in fairly short order, and it shows me what you could achieve if many people lovingly crafted and tooled these things. We would discover that we can communicate to each other. The Niagaras of epiphanous beauty that pour through us when we smoke DMT, take psilocybin, or something like that. So, in answer to the gentleman's question, psychedelics were a window until the advent of virtual reality and the internet and the new information technologies, and they, melded to psychedelic intent, opened the possibility of opening that window and stepping through it into, the most beautiful dreams human beings have ever dreamed. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, this is a topic late in the game for this workshop. But people in all times and places have asked this question, is, okay, if we reduce it all down to nothing, then how do we build it back? And philosophers have developed what are called razors, or logical tools that allow this process to go forward. The most famous razor, and the one that certainly could use some application around here, is Occam's razor, named after William of Occam, a 14th century nominalist. Occam's razor says this: hypotheses should not be multiplied without necessity. Or, translated into common vernacular English, keep it simple, stupid. In other words, the simplest explanation is always to be preferred. Never choose a more complicated explanation over the simpler explanation. So, for example, a light is seen in the sky. Simple explanation, aircraft. Complex explanation, you know what. The simpler explanation is to be preferred until further evidence forces its abandonment. And God knows, even with this razor in place, you're forced to some pretty complicated hypotheses by some situations. But if you will rely on your own intuition, the felt presence of immediate experience, and logical razors, another good one, I call this one the Gorbachev razor. Trust, but verify. Trust, but verify. It's okay to trust as long as you verify. This keeps you out of trouble. So these are simply the rules of mental hygiene that are no longer taught because commercial interests have determined that people who don't know these things are easily manipulated in the marketplace, and people who do know these things